Arfield, what a bully! Scott Arfield! He's been threatening that recently, and all the Burnley players run to the Darwin end.
Burnley win the next ball. It's Rory now. On the outside, decent.
Barnes! He got it! Ashley Barnes with it! What a cross from Rory! And there was Ashley Barnes! And Burnley leading the derby.
Knocks it quickly. Finds Benson in space at the byline. Can Burnley get a goal here? Back for Brownell. Saved by the keeper!
Burnley won it to the end! That is magnificent! They deserve that!
Only by Paul Teller. Off for a hat-trick.
He's got it! Hat-trick for Nathan Teller! Oh, he's on fire at the minute! 3-0 Burnley! It's Nathan Teller's day! And Burnley are 3 up here. Fantastic derby!
Here's Benson. Can he go on the outside? Comes inside. Top shot.
Oh, the goal! Manuel Benson once more! That is top class! Burnley have done it! Fantastic! Claret deserve the championship title. They've been the best side throughout the campaign. Burnley have won the second tier. What a fantastic achievement. The players have been magnificent.
Yes, hello everyone and welcome along to the latest instalment of the Glen Little podcast here on Turfcast with me, Joe Redmond, and of course, the legend himself, Super Glenny Little. How you doing, mate? How you been keeping?
How are you, mate? Yeah, well, it was all about the big game, wasn't it? Reviewing the West Ham game, unfortunately, didn't go our way, Joe, and we've had to have a week off with this horrible international break.
Yeah, nobody likes an international break, but an international break after you've lost is even worse, and an international break after you've lost a massive 6-pointer down at the bottom, because I'm still refusing to stop calling it a 6-pointer despite all the feedback I got, we'll call it that, because it was definitely a 6-pointer. But you mentioned it there, Glenn. Let's go into it. What were your thoughts on the result, on Burnley's performance in that game against West Ham?
I think we said last time we were on, Joe, that every game has pretty much gone according to script, hasn't it, really? Which is quite unusual up until the West Ham game. And this is the first one, I think, the defeat where you can say it was one where we let it slip, didn't we? And 1-0 up, good goal by Fleming, who, when are we going to start saying he's a centre forward, Joe?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I was on one of the full-time shows earlier in the season, sort of like saying, he's all right, but is he a Premier League striker? Maybe not. And again, I used to always say I'd like him in the 10 behind Foster, but he's shown in the game against Wolves and now again against West Ham that he might be the first striker's name on the team sheet going forward now for the rest of the season. Yeah,
I remember last season, the amount of games we did in the Championship where we were saying, well, he's having to play up front because there's no one else really. And he did well goal scoring wise, but we were still saying, I think he's better as a 10. And now we go into the Premier League and then you're doubting sort of, is he good enough full stop, let alone sort of as a 10 or a centre forward. But he's got his chance, hasn't he? When Lyle Foster got the shirt to start the season, but he got injured. Fleming's got his chance now. You could say the goals are against Wolves and West Ham, the bottom two teams, but still got to take your chances. And the header against West Ham was sort of the old-fashioned type of centre forward you see when I played, and reminded me a bit of Andy Cook crossing the ball in. There was a couple. I don't know. You're old enough to remember the Plymouth
I remember
goals.
I remember Andy Cook's goals. Yeah,
the goals that kept us up against Plymouth. And there was two headers from Cookie that day, but that sort of reminded me where it's a good cross, isn't it? And then you header it back the way it come from, and everything looked good. But it was very similar to the Wolves game, Joe, where that goal right by half time, the equaliser, just changed the game a bit. And then at half time, you're thinking anything was possible. Then, weren't you? Like every result, there's a chance for any result to happen. You open it, went our way. And it was just a shame it went West Ham's way, courtesy of, it's a shame, but 2 weeks ago, I was calling him the player of the season. I think you had the stat where he's made more saves than any Premier League goalkeeper.
Yeah.
But Dubravka, he's picked his worst game, hasn't he, in probably one of the most important games.
Yeah, I'm glad you've touched on Dubravka because I do want to mention him as well. We've both waxed lyrical about him this season, and so has 99.9% of Burnley fans. But he was quite poor against West Ham. We do have a couple of images. Obviously, we can't show the footage. These are the ones from the full-time show, so some of the viewers may have already seen these. But this is the second goal where it just kind of goes through Dubravka's hands and then goes into the path of, I think it's Souček, who just sort of like bundles it over the line. And then the third goal, again, it's Souček shooting from around 22, 23 yards. Dubravka just gets down and palms it, again, directly into the path of, was it Somerville, this one? I can't remember. But directly into the path of the oncoming West Ham players.
Walker-Peters, weren't it?
What's
he doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, what's he doing that far forward, Joe?
He's going to get a nosebleed, isn't it? But obviously, yeah, a couple of mistakes there from Dubravka, but it's one of them, isn't it? He's played so well, so much, so often this season, kept us in so many games, made great saves in the Wolves game, made great saves in the Leeds game, Sunderland as well. I won't say he's due a mistake because I hate that phrase, but it feels harsh sitting here criticising him done it when he's done so well.
Yeah, and if you remember me saying, when we were giving him the praise, Joe, we did say that it's not exactly ideal. It's good for him, isn't it, making save after save? But when you're in the Premier League, do you want your goalkeeper being player of the season, making more saves than anyone? Because the more shots you have to save, there is always going to be more chance of you just making an error, isn't it? A bit of misjudgment. The third goal, he makes the save. He does actually make the save, but then when you spill it, it comes out. Do you think, should have done better? Look, let's be fair. We have seen him save those, haven't we? Much harder shots than that. And then you could say the Wolves game, he gets down and makes that save in injury time, doesn't he? Just after we'd taken the lead. And that's won us 2 points, but then he's cost us a point. So if you want to be positive, it's just, we know these games, if you're going to make mistakes, rather it be against Man City and Arsenal when the game's done, doesn't it? But in such a crucial game, that West Ham, and it was there for the taking. West Ham weren't very good, although give them credit. That's 2 games now. They're at home. They've been a goal behind against us and Newcastle. Turned both games round, and now they're level with us. And you came on air, and before we came on air, Joe, you did say to me, we'll go through a few things, Glen, the West Ham game and the relegation battle. And are we in a relegation battle, Joe? Yeah, we're in a dogfight.
We are. Like you said, West Ham have got 11 points with us now, so it's looking over the shoulder time, isn't it, really? And obviously, up next, Chelsea. We will get into the Chelsea game soon, but you would suspect we don't get much out of that. But sticking with the West Ham game, obviously, you've been involved in big games. You've been involved in these sort of circumstances where you're on the pitch. It's a massive game. If that game potentially goes against you. Is this a scenario that this could have sort of like a negative effect on the players? Because they've gone into that game knowing it's massive, they know it's huge, they've gone 1-0 up, and then they've lost it, and now they're just like us, they're looking over their shoulders as well, looking to see who West Ham have got next, look who Leeds have got next, just like we are. Could losing a game of this magnitude have a negative effect on the players, or do you think these players are strong enough to be able to put it behind them and move on? Well,
we're going to find out, Joe. It's hard to say, isn't it, really, because the emotion of the Wolves game, where you get again the celebrations there, just went back to that. Reminded me, I've not really seen us celebrate a win like that since the Watford under Michael Jackson, when we thought we were going to start when we got a late winner, and then you have that Wolves game, and then one's gone for you, but then we've seen the other side of it with the West Ham game being 1-0 up. We thought we looked in control, and so. Yeah, the international break, does that help as well? For me, I'd want to get straight back out there and have another game. And now you've had to stew for a couple of weeks thinking about it. Now, back in my day, we had international break, but it was pretty much 4 or 5 days off. But Burnley now, most of them, even a club sort of just come up into the Premier League, will still have plenty of players away, I would have thought, Joe. I don't know whether you know how many we got, but
not exactly, but it's quite a few these days, isn't it?
Yeah, like any Premier League. Well, even you see Championship teams, you'll have probably they could have 5 or 6 away, being in the Championship. So with Scott Parker, again, he's got a stew on it, hasn't he? He'll be going into the training ground, and everyone's pretty much away. You'll be taking the stragglers, some of the youngsters, and he'll be wanting to get back out there. But then you're not just getting back out there, you're getting back out there against Chelsea, another tough game. I don't know, I don't know what's better. Is it having a winnable game, or having a tougher game where you know the pressure's off a bit, just try and have a go and try and get a result? Whereas if you've got, say, another sort of Brentford or an Everton, who else is sort of in the mix? Like, dare we say it, Newcastle? What are they in? Are they in a bit of trouble?
I've mentioned their name a few times, but I think they'll be all right.
Surely they'll be okay. But I don't know. It looks like it's that bottom 8 for the minute, Joe, isn't it? Yeah. But then it's hard to see. No, when I look at us, like you said, we're in a relegation battle. Of course we are. Wolves, they've got the new manager in now, but is he really going to get them going? I have my doubts. West Ham are back in it, like with us, but again, they didn't look great, did they? So you'd imagine they're down there with us. Leeds, same as us, really, newly promoted team. Fulham, have they been dragged into it? There's the table.
Yeah,
Newcastle surely get out there. Every time I think of Everton, just going to get dragged in. They get that win, don't they? But are we looking at up to Brighton? Maybe even it's that bottom half of the table,
for
and
me,
that's the league at the minute.
I just think it's the current bottom 6. Everton maybe could get dragged into it. I did earmark Brentford as a team that could get dragged into it. And who knows, they could go on a run and get dragged into it. But they seem to be picking up wins and not really getting sucked into it. Yeah, it is. But I was surprised that they're doing so well after bringing in Keith Andrews. An inexperienced guy, nothing against him, obviously, apart from the fact that he used to play for Blackburn. But other than that, I weren't expecting them to do that well. They've lost a lot of important players and a very important manager. But they're pulled away. Brentford could get dragged into it, as could Everton. Newcastle will be fine. They'll pull away. For me, I think it's the bottom 6 at the minute. Potentially the bottom 8, not including Newcastle, but including Everton and Brentford. And
Brentford, like looking at the table, we can see they either win or they lose, don't they? Pretty much. And I'd imagine that's at home. They win at home and lose away, and we go there in a couple of weeks, like we talked about the Chelsea game. But then that Brentford again, you're talking about trying to suck them in. Yeah, tough place to go though. I went there under Vincent Kompany. I did the game and we got battered.
I was there.
I don't remember that one, Joe, didn't you?
I was there.
3-1. It could have been double that, couldn't it? So they make a bit of noise, and it's actually quite a nice little quirky stadium built up right there. A bit of a mini Stamford Bridge.
Yeah, I don't mind the actual ground itself, but I've been there twice now. Seen us lose, I think it's 5-0 on aggregate. And then last time it started raining halfway through the second half, and then I had to walk about a 45-minute walk to the car with my 6-year-old at the time, his first ever, in fact, no, it was 5, his first ever Premier League away game. Never
not again. A good one, Joe.
Again. I say never again. I took him again like 2 years later or whatever it was.
I can remember Brentford just. The front three, that's when I first realised then Bremer, I think he might have smashed one in, but he late on, didn't he, to get the third goal. But just him and Wissa, was it just the pace had really got after us, and it could have been any score, couldn't it? Battered. And then the other one, was it, again, you said it on aggregate, the 5, it was the other one, when we went down. Was Sondai still in charge, or was it Michael Jackson, Christian Eriksen, Marvin Eriksson and Ivan Toney? Eriksson put a cross in, I think that was 2-0, Joe, wasn't it? That was a sunny day, that was better than the rain. But
that were better. Didn't have to, annoyingly, I parked a lot closer that time as well, so I couldn't even enjoy the walk back. But I've not seen us do well down there. And like you said already, they've got good home form. But obviously before then, we do have to play Chelsea, so let's look ahead to that game. You mentioned it there already. Is it good to have a game against Chelsea when you first game back, or would you rather be playing a different one? But either way, it's going to be a difficult game, isn't it?
It's going to be difficult. How do you approach it as well, Joe? Are we at that stage now where some of the games early on in the season, maybe a bit conservative, weren't we?
Yeah.
And where maybe there were games that were there for the taking, but you're saying, well, a draw's fine. But now, like, we've been dragged into this relegation battle. It is funny how we're talking about the relegation battle when I don't think we've been bad. Would that be fair?
No, I agree.
Other
than the West Ham game, like we've already said, everything's gone to plan.
Yeah, and with Vincent Kompany, we got off to a bad start, but I never felt we looked good enough. And even the team, it just seemed very individual. Never really sure it was together. there was that character in the team, whereas this team has. I think it has got character, it has got spirit. I think that the players they've got that togetherness, but it's just, there's been sort of a couple of games where you're thinking, could we have been gone for a bit more, especially Old Trafford, when at the time he was under real pressure. You get back to 2-2, even Foster went through, didn't he? It was the disallowed goal, but it was with 20 minutes to go as if we felt, no, we're at Old Trafford, let's go for the draw, make the changes and shut up shop. And then it was all United then. It was just whether they scored, and then they did get that late penalty. And Liverpool, could you have gone for it? They weren't great against us. And so now you're at that stage, you need to win. Yeah. And I look at Sunderland. Do you take Sunderland example? Just go for it. And I saw them put it up to Arsenal to get the crowd behind them because they are going for it. And you end up getting a 2-2, whereas we lost 2-0, didn't we, the week before?
Didn't lay a glove on Arsenal, obviously, where Sunderland did. That's
and it's hard. I know Sunderland, they're getting 45,000 and we are half of that. But when you think about the atmosphere at the turf, to get it going, you've got to have a go, Joe. It's hard for the crowd to get into a game when you start off and after 5 minutes it's 85% possession and you've got everyone camped on the edge of the box and you haven't got an attack. It's just, you get the crowd into it by getting forward, by getting balls in the box. And so are we at that stage now where you think, it's Chelsea, nothing to lose, let's go for it, try and get the crowd. That is our advantage, sort of getting the crowd, making the noise at the turf and trying to put Chelsea under a bit of pressure and being a bit more positive. Not sure it will happen though, but we'll see.
I guess the flip side of that, I agree with you, and I'll get on to sort of like how we expect Parker to set up in a little bit, but I do agree with you. It probably is better to go for it, especially for the atmosphere. But when you look at our squad and look at how threadbare, I guess you'd say, up front, we have struggled to score goals under Parker. We've struggled to score goals under Parker in the Championship and now in the Premier League as well. Is this side good enough as an attacking unit to be able to go for teams like Chelsea?
Do you know what, Joe? It's strange you've said that about the goals, because the one thing I was worried about was the goals when we went up. Now, I didn't think the clean sheets would hold up either. Yeah. And we have had a lot of changes at the back, but we've spoken about this before, that because when we came up before, we lost Harwood Bellis, didn't we? We didn't have him. Mm-hmm. And Jordan Bayer, he's out, wasn't he? We've missed him for a long time, and Matson didn't come back. But then the changes this time, if you're swapping Kyle Walker for Connor Roberts, Hartman's done well, hasn't he? Yeah, and really well. He's better than Perez. And all you're saying now, I know Ekdal started in place of Egan Riley when he left, but now we've got Chinzabi, haven't we? Yep. Where he's playing. Is he worse than Egan Riley? And Dubravka, we said how well he has done. At least he had Premier League experience that James Trafford never had. So you could say we've upgraded the defence, even though we've made lots of changes. But the goals, 2 at Old Trafford, 2 against Sunderland, 2 against Leeds, 3 against Wolves, 2 against West Ham, it probably hasn't been that bad.
Yeah, no, that's a fair point.
And if anything, I think it's the goals going in. Really, that's worrying me. If you'd have said to me, we went to West Ham and got 2, I'd be thinking a win. But at least, we got a draw. But it's worrying that defensively, the goals are going in, and Dubravka's making save after save. And I don't know why that is. Is it the change with a 5 at the back? But we went 4 at the back, didn't we? West Ham, we changed then. So that's the worrying aspect of it, is that the clean sheets from last season and the minutes without a goal and sort of the incredible season we had defensively. We've already well past we're sort of middle of November and we've conceded more than we did in the older Championship. Yeah. So now, is it the protection? But Josh Cullen's in there and Florentino. Yeah. So are they getting the protection? I think probably, but I don't know. The goals are going in at alarming rate.
I think a lot of it for me is taking into account that the teams that we played so far, I think everyone's looking at. I don't know if you look at these XG tables and stuff like that, but I think that the XG that we've conceded, or the XG chances, whatever, is a lot higher than the rest of the league. I think it's like 20 odd, where the rest of the league's around 15 or something like that. But it doesn't take into account the fact that we have played Man City away, we played Liverpool and Arsenal at home, we played Spurs and United away. So I think a lot of it is to do with the teams that we played. But again, you did mention the West conceding 3 at London Stadium, conceding 2 at Molineux as well. So there probably is a little bit of that not being good enough. But I think you've got to take into account the teams we played personally.
Yeah, I know we had the league table up a minute ago. No, when you actually look at it, we've got a lot of the mids now to come, haven't we? After Chelsea, it's either we've played everyone in the top sort of 7 or 8 and everyone down the bottom.
Yeah.
So again, that doesn't always work out that way, really. So now we're going to have a run of games where we're probably about 8 on the trot. Have you got it again, Joe?
Yeah, so they're on screen there now. So obviously after the Chelsea game, it's Brentford away, then Palace at home, Newcastle away, Fulham at home, Bournemouth away, Everton at home on the day after Boxing Day, then Newcastle at home, then Brighton. Then it's back into the difficult games again with United at home, Liverpool away, Spurs, and then another easier run of fixtures, if you will. So, yeah, there's no easy games in the Premier League, not to go full cliche, but, the middle teams, like you said, are the ones coming up now. So you would hope that we can get some points out of that.
Yeah, and I think you'd probably be able to judge us because we have done well, other than the West Ham game, which we've said for the first time, that's the first game we've really thrown away, isn't it? That went against us, that you're kicking yourself, you've let one slip. And I think we saw that with Scott Parker, wasn't he? Not really seen him angry so far in a year and a half since he's been at the club. But that was the one where he knew how important that was, going back to his old club as well. He would have wanted to get a win or at least get the draw. And that's why he was so angry coming out after, which was a bit of a surprise. Usually, even after defeats, he's a bit calm and calculated, is he measured approach, but he wasn't happy with that for the first time. So that run of games there, Joe, after this Chelsea, that is the season on the line there.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see where we are late December, early January. I think that will tell us probably where we are going to be come the end of the season.
Once you get through the Christmas period, the new year, then, like I said, you've said it, you'll either be in big trouble, already got one foot in the Championship again, or you could be doing all right, 4 or 5 wins. So Newcastle as well, that's quick succession. You've got to get Newcastle. Hopefully they're still in Europe, aren't they? Still playing in European games. I think that does give you more of a chance. And I still say about Forest, I think on paper they've got a squad good enough, Forest, to stay up, but that doesn't help when you're playing those Thursday night matches in Europe.
Yeah.
But get through the Chelsea game if you can. Somehow get a result, even a point. You take that, and then you say that the season starts. Then you'll be getting into the winter months. You got the weather coming, the cold, the wind, the rain, the snow, and then you see how you get on against all those teams in the middle, and then by sort of the new year, you know where you stand.
Yeah. Fingers crossed, obviously, we're in a good position at that. Just going back to the Chelsea game, obviously, you mentioned earlier, then you reeled off some of the games where we didn't really lay a glove on some of our opponents. You can't really use Man United in that, I guess, because we scored 2 goals. But obviously, we went to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and lost comfortably. We played at home against Liverpool, tried to keep it tight, and obviously frustrated them until like the 97th minute, to be fair. But again, going forward, didn't lay a glove on them. Arsenal's the same. What is it with Burnley this season? And to be fair, historically, for 3-4 seasons now, that we don't really tend to do that well against the bigger sides at the minute. You're not seeing like a Man United 2009 sort of game or the Jay Rodriguez goal, something like that. We're not laying gloves on these bigger sides anymore. Is it the way we're setting up? Are we just setting up to be too cautious? As you said earlier, it's time to go for it.
Maybe it is the Scott Parker. I think the Vincent Kompany was probably a bit too open. It's getting the balance, Joe, isn't it? And then with Scott Parker coming into the league, I think as well with what we've seen in the last 2 years with the 3 teams up, 3 teams down. I think, other than Sunderland, now they have spent 200 million, and fair play to them. it's pretty much all their signings have worked out, which doesn't always happen, does it? We've seen that go wrong before. Just spending the money doesn't always work, but credit to Sunderland, it's worked for them up till now. But even with Leeds, you can see ourselves and Leeds maybe trying to play it safe, knowing just even trying to get a point, try not to lose 4 or 5-0, thinking that might dent the goal difference and your confidence. So it probably is Scott Parker. He's been in the Premier League before. He's had a few Tonkins. That put pay to Bournemouth, didn't it? He's put the Bournemouth job, getting beat a cricket score by Liverpool. So maybe he has got a few scars from the Fulham and the Bournemouth. And so he's thinking this is the best thing to do, to try and keep it tight, stay in the game, which, again, like the Spurs game was 3-0, but maybe flattered Spurs on the day.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Even City, though, Joe, for an hour, you're 1-1, aren't you? You forget, it ends up 5, did it, in the end? Lost count, 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then because it nearly works against Liverpool, and you're kicking yourself with the penalty, aren't you, with a handball with Hannibal. And so because it nearly worked there, I think maybe Scott Parker's thinking that we'll just do the same again. It didn't work against Arsenal because they did score early on in that first half, so straight away you're up against it. And I think that's off. I expect him to do the same again. Just keep it tight, keep it 0-0. If you get a goal from somewhere, great, and then you try and hang on. And then it's. I would like to see us, like I said, get the crowd behind us. Let's try and have a go and see what happens. But I do expect it to be cautious again until you get into the second half of the season. And then it might be sort of in the last 2 or 3 months, Joe, if you are in that relegation zone and you're 4 or 5 points adrift, you might get to that stage. You can't afford to just park the bus and get men behind the ball and hope for draws. You've got to go and win games. And so the tactics and the dynamic, it might change a bit. But up until now, like you said, you've got 6 teams in the relegation battle. Could we stretch it to a 7 or 8? So at the minute, we're in a relegation battle, but we're not down, are we? We're still fighting.
Exactly
still a long way to go. Still a lot of matches to play, and a lot of those middling teams to come.
Yeah, I've said it before and I'll say it again. You're not relegated in November unless you have 2 points on the board like Wolves. So we're not in that situation, thankfully. A Wolves fan did take exception with me saying that, so I hope he doesn't watch this again.
Yeah, and the manager, Joe, again, it's not if they've got Jose Mourinho in, or it's just Edwards, isn't it, from sort of the Championship. So he's got I know he was a player there. He's obviously wanted to go back. Got a chance to manage in the Premier League, but if they stay up, he needs a miracle.
Yeah, I agree. I think Edwards will be good for when they go down next season, but I can't see him keeping him up. Just sticking with that Chelsea get. We both probably agree that we probably expect Parker to be cautious rather than go for it. Are we expecting him to bring back the back 5, which is something that I don't think anybody wants?
I think we'll see the back 5 again. So, the hour before the game, look for and it's the early kickoff, Joe, isn't it?
Yeah, it is 12:30, isn't it?
Do you know what? The 12:30 kickoff, can that help you sometimes, players? This changes your routine, does it? You're getting up early, your pre-matches at sort of 10 instead of
still sitting 12. On the stomach from the night
before, maybe, and they're travelling up. I know they'll be overnight, but it's just, that early start. Can some teams be a bit flat? Something to look for, but definitely hour before kickoff, look for the team sheet, and I do expect the 5. It's just, who will the 5 be? Will it be Josh Laurent back in as that sort of third right-sided centre back?
Not as a centre back.
No, I hope not. But it's. I think in some ways it's a bit unfair on him. It was always going to be difficult for him to make the step up to the Premier League anyway. It's tough, even if you're playing your correct position. Let alone playing out of position. There's sort of a back 3, isn't it? It's maybe a bit unfair on him. So we'll see. I don't see many other changes really. I know Anthony's come in for a bit of criticism. I know he had the good start goals-wise, but the performance has been a bit of a struggle. Would you look at Edwards? Can you stick him in from the start? Larsson's had some starts, again, not convincing. It's the wide areas. The Fleming, you have to keep going with him, I'd imagine. Don't you, the form he's in, see if he can keep it up, keep scoring. But are the wide areas as well, I'm sure we'll get into that next time we're on. We're just at the end now, aren't we, today? But that's definitely something, because I'm a bit of an expert, you know, Joe. I played out wide, you know, on the right hand side. I was a wee
you did quite
myself,
well,
so
you did quite
I wasn't bad. Yeah, I was tall. Yeah, I was tall and slow, but did all right. So
yeah,
I suppose, we'll get into that next time. That are we looking at maybe the wide players might need freshening up?
Yeah, maybe. You say we're at the end, but there are two more things I do want to talk about very quickly. Before I do move on, though, I just want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. Obviously, W18 Car Sales over in Colne. There's a QR code on your screen now. If you scan that, it will take you directly to the website. Or, of course, you can see the website at the bottom of your screen now and the phone number if you just want to make an inquiry. It is, of course, owned by former Claret and a good friend of Glen.
My mate, my old mate, Weller.
Yeah, has he sorted you out with any?
Are we allowed to say, Joe, if you ring up, is there a 10% discount, Joe, for... Can we say that for Weller? He'll think business is booming. I've had so many people come down to see me to buy a car, but they all want the 10% discount that Glenn and Joe have promised.
Yeah. We'll keep that one there just in case Paul listens to this. But it may be a 50% discount if you play cars right. I was saying then, Glenn, he's not sorted you out with any Lamborghinis recently, has it?
No. And what about if Burnley stay up this season? Get down there. Burnley stay up. Cars on the house.
That's obviously not legally binding before anybody rings Paul up saying we've said that. But
anyway, let's move on. I'll be up. I'll see him. I don't know next time I'm up, but whenever I'm up, I always pop in and see him for about 5 hours. Sit in the office, try help him sell a few cars. He actually gets me helping out. That doesn't pay me though, Joe. Go and pick up a few cars for him. But no, it's always good to go and see him. I'm not sure when I'll be up, but maybe after Christmas. What I was saying, people might not know, Joe, that he's actually a Tottenham fan. I'm a United, he's Tottenham, and we've got him in January. And I think I might be able to do the hospitality. So that's the next time. So it'd be good. Yeah, that'd be good. Do the hospitality. His son's Tottenham as well, so he might come with me. I think Weller's booked in for a table. There's about 6 of them.
I was just going to say, speaking of freebies, I'm available if.
Right, Joe. So you fancy it? I'll speak to Veronica. She'll look after us. So if you fancy coming, I'll see how many I can get, Joe. But
one of my old mates does the MC in there as well, so that'd be fun.
So if we can go, I think, was it the 21st? We missed the fixtures. We had them up a minute ago, didn't we?
I've still got the tab open.
Is there any chance, Joe?
24th.
24th. But is it, when do the fixtures sometimes get changed? When is it after Christmas and then they start moving? And we hope it's not Friday night, Joe.
December for the January games.
So we'll see if would they move Burnley and Spurs at the Turf?
Potentially, because it's Spurs in it. Like Chelsea's on TV, for example. It's on TV.
Not a Monday night. It's not a Monday night. But if it's Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff, and Spurs is a good one for Burnley, isn't it? Spurs sort of at the Turf.
We've beaten them a few times at the Turf.
We have had a few good nights, haven't we? Going back over the years, some special nights. I
remember the Carling Cup one when Steve Davis scored and Robbie Blake scored.
Stevie Davis and Blakey. Set up to. Come on the sub, Joe. Would you believe got dropped? Couldn't believe it, Stan. He left me out. Shocking.
Back in the day.
Yeah, it was shocking. He left me out. I couldn't believe it. And then he had to bring me on after 20 minutes. We were 1-0 down, but we turned it around. Yeah, one of the best nights I had at the Turf. And then there was a few years later, Blakey again, wasn't it? Had a good night.
Yeah.
Was it the 4-1 but just missed out? Was it away goals? And
they beat us 4-1 down at White Hart Lane. Then we went 3-0. Next scored a free kick. Jay Rodriguez, I think, scored what I thought was the winner at the time, but obviously Roman Pavlyuchenko scored too late on and put them through. Brought me out, that lad.
Yeah, I know. That was hard. I remember Blakey at the time. Yeah, I remember Blakey just running rings round Chris Gunter.
Yeah.
On that, right back when Chris Gunter right back, Blakey twisted him inside out a few times, but just see if we can do it again. We might need to by then.
Yeah, we'll see. Just coming sort of like back round to sort of like things happening now very quickly, obviously, because I know we're already 5 minutes over. But Armando Broja, obviously those watching England last night would have seen Armando Broja get stretched off frustratingly quite late in the game as well. It looked like he was going to get through it. Unfortunately not. It looked quite bad. There's been no official news on what it is or how long he'll be out. There are some rumours flying around on message boards and Twitter and stuff that it might only be an ankle sprain, but it did look quite bad last night, to be fair. But what were your thoughts on Broja and his injury? Because it's been a tough start to him. A tough start for him. Sorry,
it has, mate. It's just when you spend that money, a club like Burnley, we needed a number one centre forward to come in and hit the ground running, didn't we? And unfortunately, it just hasn't happened. And he has had the injury problems for the last 2 or 3 years. Everywhere he's gone, it hasn't really mattered. He's been injured. He hasn't really looked 100% fit for us, even though we're in November. He's had a few sub appearances as he come on recently, but. Yeah, that international break, that's the last thing you want, isn't it? If you're Burnley, that he's hardly played for you, and then he goes an international break. So hopefully the ankle sprain, 2-4 weeks sometimes, and you don't really know, or longer. Ligaments even longer, but if it's just sort of a bit of a twist, a bit of a sprain, hopefully you're not out that long, but it's just sort of...
It's just some start, isn't it?
Sums up the signing. Yeah. Now... You could say who was the one doing the recruiting, because you did know he'd been injured pretty much everywhere he's gone, hasn't he? So you do know that. You are taking this when you're spending that money. Would I have made that signing? No, but someone's obviously done it. I would have looked elsewhere, even though, don't ask me where to look, Joe. It's easy for us sitting here saying to get a number one centre forward to hit the ground running. Not always easy. I'm looking at Sesko at United. They paid about 17 million for him, and he's not exactly hit the ground running, is he? And how much did Liverpool pay for Isaac?
130,
weren't it? Plus for Isaac, and he's having a shocker. Yeah. So I know, I feel even in Gyökeres as well. Gyökeres, who I like, but at Arsenal, he scored a couple. Hasn't he? The set play against us and a penalty here and there, but. I wouldn't exactly say he's on fire. So it just shows you. I feel sorry for these sort of chief scouts, these head of recruitments that are trying to find these centre forwards that are worth the name.
Yeah, what I will say, to be fair to the recruitment team, is I think that's the only one this season that hasn't really worked out. I think that they've brought in a lot of quality, to be fair. They've brought in a lot of quality, so they've got a lot right. And they probably knew about the injury record. They probably thought, we're Burnley, we're not going to get somebody, as you've mentioned, of that quality, because you're going to be costing 70, 80 million quid. So we have to take the risk on that injury record, as they did with Hartman, by the way, because he's had a few bad injuries and he's obviously hit the ground running and done very well. So
and getting the assists as well.
The recruitment team. Exactly. I think they've done very well, the recruitment team this summer, but Broja is the one that does look like it's not going to work out, unfortunately.
And Joe, it's the most important position, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately for us,
they keep you up, don't they? Those centre forwards now. I've been saying for a couple of years now, where have they all gone? Because in my day, everyone wanted to be a centre forward because you scored the goals and got all the glory. And like when you look back, like we were in the Championship, and like we weren't a big club in the Championship. We had a promotion from League One. Yes, we had the history, but we weren't big payers or anything like that. And yet we had Gareth Taylor, like Ian Moore and Blakey. Yeah. Probably a few others I've forgotten. Pate's coming earlier, didn't he? And Andy Cook, like we've mentioned, Andy Cook. Like you had 2 or 3 centre forwards at every level of football. Like the League One, then you went up Championship that could score goals and play centre forward, and yet like we're in the Premier League and we're struggling to get one.
Yeah, everyone wants to be a wide forward or a number 10 or a winger these days. Everybody wants to be Glen Little.
Playing the whole, don't they? Yeah, playing. Or quarterback, Joe, get 100 touches a game, make 100 passes, complete 98 of them, but don't go over the halfway line.
Yeah.
Easy, get all this possession.
Yeah, speaking of sort of like defensive midfielders who keep teams ticking, I do want to get your thoughts on Florentino Luis, because he's another one, obviously coming in the summer. I think he's come in and done very, very, very well. And for me, he probably is one of, if not the first name on the team sheet, I think, going forward now. He's been absolutely fantastic. But there have been a very, 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 very small minority, admittedly, but there have been a few murmurings over on Twitter and message boards and things like that, that it might be time to drop him and maybe try a different midfield three. But I just think that is utter nonsense. I think he's been absolutely fantastic. What are your thoughts on Florentino Luis?
Well, I'm surprised at that. I've not heard the mutterings, Joe. I've got to be honest.
Very few
whenever I've seen him, I've seen him. He just looks a really good footballer, doesn't he? He's got composure. Yeah. He's comfortable in possession. Rarely wastes a pass. That's what you want. Now, have you got Josh Cullen who sort of does that? I would say that's the only debate. Do you need two of them? Now, I think because we are more defensive, you could say I would rather have both of them sitting in there keeping the ball, but then it's important for that sort of player, the attacking. Even though Brownhill in the Premier League, I was never 100% convinced. You saw what he'd done in the Championship. Scored, like, you got to give him credit, scoring all them goals from attacking midfield.
Fantastic last year.
And then it is Ugachukwu. What sort of player is he? Because I like him as well, Joe. But is he an out sort of a number 10, or is he maybe a box to box?
I think he's more box to box. Yeah, he's
box to box.
He's a type of player that I want to see drive with the ball and things like that.
So then you're looking at the structure of the three in midfield then, where if you want Ugachukwu in there as that sort of number 8, the high energy, the legs to get forward and back, you need the floater in behind then, don't you? The number 10, but then you're only going to be playing Florentino or Josh Cullen, and it's who do you prefer? Be very, very difficult to leave one of them out, I feel. So I'd say for now, I would keep them two. And Ugochukwu's got the shirt, hasn't he? I don't think the midfield's a problem. I've got to be honest.
I agree. I think that's our strongest area. I think that midfield three is our strongest area of the pitch.
Now, when you think about Sean Dyche, he had sort of Jack Cork, Ashley Westwood in there. Now, this is an upgrade on that, isn't it? Even though they did well, Jack Cork, like we know, good servant, and Ashley Westwood. But when you think about it, we were finishing mid-table with them in the midfield. I know we were playing the 4-4-2, a bit different style of football. The one thing that team had, though, was the back four and the goalkeeper.
And Chris Wood putting the ball in the net as well.
And Chris Wood helped. Yeah, that was a good signing. Again, centre forward, an actual centre forward who plays centre forward.
Yeah, old school centre forward.
So, the midfield, I would leave the midfield. I wouldn't be messing with that. It will all come back to the next show, Joe, to wide players.
Yeah.
That'll be our next sort of discussion. They'll both probably score that trick by then.
Fingers crossed, Glenn. Fingers crossed, mate, because then we'll be a very happy little podcast next time around, won't it?
Yeah, Anthony 2 and Brun Larson goal of the season. And what were we talking about? Yeah, but what we'll have to do before the wide players, we might have to get another person in for an expert on the wide players, wouldn't we?
Yeah,
to join the
see
show.
If someone's free. See if someone's played a few wide games at some point.
Yeah, what's Wayne Elliott doing now?
Yeah. That's a great shout. I might see what he's up to. No, I'm only joking. We'll leave it there, Glenn. Before we do, though, very quickly, obviously, Chelsea game coming up, then Brentford game after that. How are you expecting them two to go? Are we hoping for, not hoping for a defeat, but probably a defeat against Chelsea and then a win down at Brentford? It is two tough games, isn't it? How do you expect we're going to get on?
Yeah, could you have two draws? I think the Chelsea... Do you know what? I've seen Chelsea 2 or 3 times. I know they're up there, Joe, but... when I've seen them, I've not exactly been impressed by them, but they're sort of up there. They've had a couple of disappointing results. Sunderland actually went to Stamford Bridge and beat them the other week, and Brentford, it's winnable, but then they had done well at home, so 2 tough ones. I think I'd 0-0 and 1-1, Joe, would you take?
I'd take that right now. I'm worried that we're looking down the barrel of 2 defeats coming up there. Two tough games, 2 defeats, and then you're potentially second bottom by the time the next fixture comes around, and then it is tough and it's a slog, and then it's pressure's on. Yeah, and then the winter comes, doesn't it? You get into those winter months, and then the tough Christmas period. All those games come thick and fast, and you hope they don't get bogged down, because it can happen. I've said this before, Joe, that Premier League, when you're struggling and you're not winning games, it can beat you up. It just, really can.
The relentless nature of it is tough, and then you lose confidence. And these, like you've said about the new signings, some good young players, some young signings, but then it's difficult for them. Do they, maybe some of the players, do they start looking for the exit door? I felt that happened with the Vincent Kompany team in a way.
Definitely.
Were people there playing for Burnley, or was it, well, we come here because they've given us a chance to play in the Premier League, and I'm not bothered. If we stay up, great. I've got my money. If we go down, I'll be off. I won't be hanging around there.
Yeah.
So,
well, like you say, fingers crossed we managed to get. I'd take a couple of draws now, but one win would be absolutely fantastic because that's obviously more points.
Well, that'd be better. Yeah, winning the defeat's better than 2 draws. So,
100%.
Just finding the win.
Yeah, it is. We'll leave it there, Glenn. Obviously, we'll get you back on in a couple of weeks. But as always, mate, thank you for coming on. It's a pleasure. It's still have to pinch myself that I'm texting you, organising the likes of getting you on here and stuff like that as well. So I really do appreciate you taking up your time on this Monday afternoon, mate.
Yeah, and you might have just booked yourself a Tottenham hospitality. Yeah, we'll take the turf cast. Yeah, we'll see if we can take the turf cast in behind the scenes for the day. Hospitality at Burnley, Tottenham. So a lot of games before then. Let's hopefully we're in a decent position, aren't we, by the Tottenham game? But speak to you after the Brentford. I'll be there as well doing that one.
Nice one,
So do a change of luck there, aren't we? We'll see.
Fingers crossed, mate. Fingers crossed. We'll speak to you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, mate.